time it is!
Thank you all for checking out the C-Squared Hour. I'm your host, Chris. Once again, giving you all the opinions I think of on the spot, and I decide 3 days later if I agree with them or not. Before I get too far into this, I do have to say that by some goddamn miracle, with how little how inconsistently I've been posting this, somehow November I've had the most listeners I've ever had, and that was even before posting the last episode. So some of you jackasses are sharing this around like I've begged numerous times, so I want to thank you all for that. Since we have so many new listeners, I'm obviously going to have to give an update on Chris, where he is this week. You may be surprised to know this, but he's actually at the Capitol, on Capitol Hill. And what he's been doing, he's been going from senator to congressman to all sorts of these different offices trying to get meetings. And what he's trying to do, who knows if this is good or not, or if this is a worthwhile cause or what have you. He is trying to get Thanksgiving moved from Thursday to Friday. You might ask, why would one do that? His thinking is quite interesting. The way he looks at it, if you look at retail employees, if you look at bluer collar, type things, if you look at the service industry, really, if you look at that, even if they are on a regular schedule Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever, they still have to work the day after Thanksgiving. So while the middle to upper middle class office workers or what have you get 4 days off, these people only get Thanksgiving off, then they have to work Friday, and then they get the weekend off, just like normal. So really, it's not that much of a vacation for these people. And really, if you do Thanksgiving the way everyone else does, even though Thanksgiving fucking sucks. Thanksgiving's fine, but Thanksgiving food sucks. Even if you do it the way everyone else does it, there's no way you're going to be at full capacity or fully able to go in and put in a Hardy's day's work on a Friday, right? The one issue I brought up to him, and he didn't really have an answer to this, is could you imagine what Black Friday would look like if more people had a chance to go out there? Holy shit. You would think it couldn't get nuttier, but all of a sudden those people who have to work Friday, they get to go shopping too. Shit might go real sideways. But he really believes in this idea, so hey, let's go. Like I said, he's saying, fuck 64% of the country getting a 4-day weekend while 30% get 2-day weekend with a day off in the middle of the week, and the other percentage have to work Thanksgiving. He's saying, fuck that. Let's make sure most people have a 3-day weekend at least. So that's where we're at. And honestly, the Thanksgiving, I don't know why it's on a Thursday. And I'm sure some of you will tell me, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really give a shit. It's just that it happened to be on Thursday. There's probably a reason. But it's not a specific date, so what the fuck? Good luck to Chris on that. Also, to my longtime listeners, I know you'd be upset if I didn't say it, but Randy, offer's still there, homeboy. Still sitting there. Even after this weekend, even watching the best fighter, currently pound for pound, win, I still think it's a good idea, even though we will look nothing like that, even though it'll be probably a god-awful, terrible fight to watch. Even though I'm a douchebag hack for still saying this, even after all the Pauls and the Nate Robinsons and the Frank Gores, all these fights are happening. I know I sound like a hack, but I made the offer before this shit really started popping off, and I can't go back on it now. I'm sitting here waiting. I got the heavy bag ready to go. I got all my equipment. I got my training thing listed out. I can't start training until you accept the fight. So my health is still in your hands, but I won't go too far into it. Again, don't want to sound like an unoriginal hack, even though I probably am in a lot of cases. But I try to avoid it. I stopped listening to a lot of podcasts and other stuff because I don't want to steal ideas. So, and like I've said before, if you happen to hear me say something that sounds exactly like something someone else said, let me know, because I may have accidentally stolen it, and I'll shout it out. But if it's kind of close, or I've never heard of these people, maybe great minds think alike, and so do mediocre minds. Randy, the offer's there, buddy. Let's do it. Once again, I'm going to start the beginning of this episode whining, as I usually do, because I'm a little bitch. I get it. I listened to this podcast the other day, and, I thought it was good. It was tips on starting a podcast and successful podcast and all that sort of stuff. And I go in, and this podcast, millions upon millions upon millions of downloads, followers, streams, and all that. That's why I'm not going to say the name, because who the fuck am I to talk about this guy? No matter what I think about him, there's no reason for me to shout him out or, go after him. I'm not even in the same boat yet. It'd be like the Bad News Bears calling out the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's what I would be doing right now. And I'm talking like the Bad News Bears like then, or like the Bad News Bears from then, currently aged to now, trying to challenge them. So not even them as a kid. Like, their days are past. So I'm not going to say the name. But I spent 3 hours listening to this fucking podcast, right? 3 hours. 3 hours. Not one goddamn thing was answered. It was 3 hours of just killing time. That's all it was. And I know I don't answer anything, but I don't pretend to. I don't pretend to answer things. I just spout out my stupid fucking opinions and hope some people like them. This podcast was designed to help people. It was designed to answer questions. I didn't get any answers for 3 fucking hours. And I listened to clips of other ones, and they were all the same fucking thing. And what I realized is I came into this game too late. I know every metric, everything says, we're still very young in podcasting and there's a lot of room and they still haven't completely figured out how to get it. I understand that. But if I got into this 10 years ago, when this jagoff started, I would have to work so much less to be interesting, so much less to get people following me, because I would just have the name by now and I could go 3 hours without answering a fucking question, go 2.5 hours without talking about what I'm supposed to talk about, and not get called out for it because, I'm the name here. So I'm sitting here racking my brain, trying to be interesting, fucking taking weeks off because I'm too stupid to figure out. Shit, I'm not even giving you an hour, 40 minutes worth of stuff to talk about. And this jagoff is just spending 3 hours not saying anything. Just sucking his own dick, or her. I think I already ruined that. Just 3 hours of nothing, and if I got into it, when they got into it, or when I first wanted to get into it, but was too lazy, too drunk, too stupid, whatever, I would have to do so much less work. It would be fantastic. But nope. Instead of that, I actually have to answer questions, and I actually have to be interesting if I want anyone to listen to this. I'm not saying I am now, because I'm not saying that people are fucking listening. But yeah, instead of, just being able to spout off whatever I want, I have to compete with now the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are doing a podcast because they need to, right? Christ, another fucking one. Compete with them. There's the Will Arnett, the gay guy from Will and Grace. What's their podcast called? Jason Bateman owes us one or something. I don't know, but started too late, people. Started too goddamn late. There's a new channel on Hulu Live I'm checking out, some sort of news channel, but it looks like it's just, from what I see, they're just talking about missing kids. It looks like it's to scare middle-aged people. I don't know if that's the name of the channel, but that's what it should be, scaring middle-aged people. And I did mention it earlier. I'm going to give you a little boxing analysis, but before I get into it, I had an opinion, an epiphany, if you will, pop up before the last one. As you know, if you've listened, I haven't mentioned her much, but I do have a dog. She's awesome. Better than your dog. Cuter than your dog. I don't care who the fuck you are. I love dogs, and I absolutely love my dog, and I've figured out, if you're a dude, and you love dogs, and you have a male dog, you're kind of gay. Nothing wrong with it. Not saying there's anything wrong with the kind of gay thing. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just telling you, if you have a male dog and you love dogs, you're kind of gay. You're going to talk to your dog. You're going to act a way around your dog. You're going to love on your dog a certain way that if you did with any other male species, you'd be gay. So if you have a male dog and you really love dogs, you're gay. It's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. In fact, if I had a male dog, I would probably be gay in this specific realm. And in fact, I'm not sure I won't own a male dog. When I own that male dog, I'll be a little bit gay. I'm okay with it. But just know before you say anything, and this is really who I'm calling this out to. I'm really, the people who are against gay marriage, who are so homophobic, and if you have a male dog and you love dogs, hate to tell you, Cletus, you're kind of in the same boat as them. I mean, I'll come home and my dog will run up to see me and, I'll go kiss her and call her all sorts of sweet names. And when I had a male dog, I used to do the same thing. So when I had a male dog, I was kind of gay. Now I have a female dog, not kind of gay anymore. If I ever get a male dog again, which I probably will, I'm a shelter guy. I'm an adopt, not shop guy. Huh? Mostly it's just cheaper. And always had good luck. I'm sure I'll have a male dog again, and I'll be kind of gay with you at that point. But just to let you know, kind of gay. So before you're sitting there yelling at the TV or yelling at the nice clothes on something. Yep, that was me being stereotypical. before you do that, just remember, you're kind of gay too. Just an epiphany I had this week. Had to say it. Speaking of oiled up men with no shirts on, Terrence Crawford fought Shawn Porter this weekend. Terrence Crawford, as you know, my favorite boxer, KO'd Porter in the 11th. A lot of people say that Porter's corner stopped it too early, but from what I saw, they basically stopped it 30 seconds before the ref was going to have to stop it. So, one thing I noticed, and I'm not going to go too far into this because there's not a lot of boxing nerds, is Spence is the next guy, really, that Crawford has to beat. It's been awful quiet. Shawn Porter announced that he's retiring at the age of 34, and a lot of people were shocked. Why? He's awesome at commentary. People love him on TV. He's fought everybody now in that division. He's beaten the ones he's supposed to. He's lost Keith Thurman. He took to the cards when Keith Thurman looked unbeatable. I believe he took Spence to the cards. He's fought everybody. And so it's like, what the fuck now? I can throw on a suit and commentate boxing. And I guarantee you, even if Fox, I think he's doing it for Fox, but even if Fox were to get out of the boxing game, that dude's going to have a job. If people are smart at all. So yeah, retire at 34. You fought everyone in the division. You have nothing left to prove. You lost to the guy who, my opinion, best pound per Let me try that again, folks. Best pound for pound fighter out there right now. Lost to him. Yeah. Fucking throw on your suit and do TV. Why not? The only thing I have to say is Terrence Crawford KO'd a guy who Spence took to the cards. Spence, you've been awful quiet, and where are you? Fuck the way he does things. He's gonna, he's not gonna get a fight till he fights you guys. Anyway, favorite boxer won. I called it. I thought it was gonna go a lot shorter, but I did call it, and now we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Christ, I think Spence was even walking out before he can even... What an idiot. I don't know. Fuck, he's gonna roll over another Ferrari to try to avoid the fight. Well, there was my sports take. Well, not my only sports take. I think I have a couple more for this episode, but here comes my entertainment opinion. I did tease a little on the last episode that I started watching Tiger King 2, or Season 2, or whatever the fuck they were calling it. I did finish it. My opinion didn't change much. What I realized is the only one who didn't look like an asshole in Season 2 was Carol, was the broad that everyone thought murdered her husband. Not only do I not think she murdered her husband anymore, now I don't think she has anything to fucking do with it after watching Season 2, but she's the only one that didn't look fucking douchey in the whole thing. Even the dead husband's family, they went away from working with a lawyer, going to the armchair investigator and a fucking paranormal investigator or a psychic medium or psychic detective or whatever they're called. They decided, no, we have a lawyer who can look into this. No, let's go with fucking Limpy Ripper and this guy who pretends to hear fucking ghosts. The murdered guy's family looked worse than this broad. It seemed like, I don't know if you remember a few years ago when there was that whole OJ interview and Chris Darden, one of the prosecutors from the original OJ trial, fought so hard to keep this off TV, and when it finally comes out, he watches like, oh shit, this makes OJ look really bad. I don't know why I fought this so hard. This would have been great to have come out back in that's basically what we just saw here. Carol looks fucking awesome in all this. She looks like the most normal person. We know that's not true. Well, actually, it could be with all these fucking weirdos. I'm looking at my notes here. Only one who doesn't look like a douche. Yeah, her dead husband's family looks worse. If you're gonna fucking work with a paranormal detective or psychic detective and an internet investigator, let's just say if your family is gonna be in that sort of game, maybe he was gonna have a weird ending no matter what. No matter who he was married to. Maybe it was gonna go fucking weird. It was gonna go sideways. Holy shit, gas $6 in West Los Angeles. $6 a gallon. See what I mean, news station? Trying to get middle-aged people wound up. That's all this news station is. Let's talk about gas prices and missing people. They love those. So Carol looked pretty fucking awesome in that. The internet investigator, I already talked about him. I have nothing more. You're a fucking moron. Okay. I'm sorry, but your job isn't a job and it shouldn't exist. Well, I'm an internet detective. I watch YouTube videos and decide everything. Fuck off. Fuck off. You're a moron. What was good, what I did notice is the sleazebag from Vegas. What the fuck was that guy's name? Jeff. That sleazebag who said he was upset with how he was portrayed in the first one. Like, he's not that bad. What he decided to do for this season was, let's just say, it was a pretty bold move. To show he's not a sleazebag and he's not a douchebag, he sat in his own throne while his wife laid in lingerie behind him on a couch listening to every word he said. Sorry. I am totally sorry we had the wrong idea of you. You weren't as much of a sleaze. You weren't a sleaze in the first one, especially compared to what the second one looked like. We were just scratching the surface of your greasiness. Holy fuck. And then there was the shirtless moron who swore a lot. He got his comeuppance too, apparently. The only thing is that long-haired fake hippie, I don't know whatever happened to him. I would have liked to see more from him. The guy who had the 3 wives, who had all those clever lines that were only clever because no one told him to shut the fuck up before. I'd like to know about him. And you got the lawyer who jumps from the dead husband's family straight into Joe Exotic's corner. And you look at, but you know, they met him because he was hanging out with the armchair detective. Christ, he might have been the worst in that whole thing. There is nothing more douchey and cringy than a lawyer who loves the fucking camera. Nothing more. I mean, shit, the biggest one, the OJ guy, what was his name? Dershowitz. I mean, fuck, he got thrown in with Epstein, so still don't know how that's going. The Maxwell trial just started, so we'll see if his name keeps coming up. But this lawyer, I'm not going to put him in that category. He's not there yet, but he's basically a porn star and a shaved head away from being Michael Avenatti. We all remember him, Stormy Daniels' lawyer, who's now in jail for trying to extort Nike, because that's where you want to go. Yeah, the lawyer was probably the biggest douche in the whole thing. I told you, I hate internet detectives, and he looked like a tool, but he's supposed to look like a tool. Alright? Your dead father, or your father's been quote unquote missing for 30 fucking years. You might be a little wacky and you might be willing to listen to a lot of ideas, including a psychic detective. I get it. If you're a sleazebag and decide to fly tires into Las Vegas, you're supposed to be a sleazebag. If you're a lawyer, you're supposed to have some sort of class, or not class, but some sort of self-respect or something. It's like, I don't know, man. The internet has made it way too easy for ambulance chasers to not have that sort of name. And this is basically what this is. This is an ambulance chaser. I'll stop talking about my opinion on that whole thing because, quite frankly, no one really gave much of a shit. Oh, you mean I can go outside and I can go be with friends? I don't have to watch this? I guess we don't really give a fuck about the plight of tigers when we are allowed to see our family. Ain't that some shit? Although the shirtless swearing guy, it's nice to see him, God, he's such a fuck. But at least, I said I was going to stop it. At least he didn't hide it. You know? At least he's like, hey, look at me. I'm a fuck. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want. I think this might be a direct quote. It's pretty close to one if it isn't. He didn't apologize for it. He's like, yeah, I'm this guy. So deal with it or not. He was probably the most honest one of that whole fucking documentary, that whole goddamn, both parts. He's the most honest one. He was a sleazebag. Yeah, he was a douchebag. But at least he was fucking honest. Fucking Carol's new husband, just such a dweeb. God, did he prove it, this whole thing. Singing along in his car, trying to show off, like, oh, look, I can saw. Just taking fucking way longer than he had to cut off GW off a fucking fence. Carol's husband looking like a fucking dweeb. Again, I said it. I said I was going to stop, and I apologize that I'm not. Carol, after the second season came out, she is the least hateable. She went from the most hated to the least hateable in that whole fucking thing. She was fighting not to have this released. Well, I mean, technically, I think her husband was, putting everything through because he's the actual lawyer, but I mean, he should have fought because he looked even more of a goddamn dweeb. But she comes out fucking smelling like a rose. Comparatively, I guess she smelled like shit before. She smells like 3,000 flushes now. She doesn't smell like shit. She smells like the fucking toilet bowl cleaner. Oh, great. You have a fat guy talking about how awesome Thanksgiving floats are. Enough with fucking parades, too. I have nothing more on that. At least this episode. I'm sure I'll think of something, come the Thanksgiving parade. Alright, adjust the mic here real quick because I'm about to get serious, folks. I do talk a lot about current events on this whole thing. So the big one that happened, the Rittenhouse trial, just got done. He got, let off on all charges, and you ask one side, that's good. It means freedom. You ask the other side, it means we're coming to a lawless society. I'm not going to get into that. Here's what I'm going to get into. The only thing that trial and that verdict said to me was the prosecutor was shitty and couldn't get away with shitty prosecutor moves that happen in every fucking case. In most cases around the country, the prosecutor is usually the greasiest one in that whole fucking thing. That whole thing. Oh, wait, 1 second. Speaking of that, this news channel I'm watching is going to have an exclusive interview with Kyle Rittenhouse. I may have to watch that. Anyway, going away from it. All that showed me is it was a prosecutor trying to do greasy prosecutor shit, and a judge, knowing he's on national TV, saying, you know what? You're not going to get away with this right now because my ass is on the line too. I'm not going to talk about whether he's guilty or whether he's innocent or what have you. I'm saying the prosecution was greasy. I'm using greasy a lot this episode. If you like it, you like it. It was a shitty prosecutor who didn't try to hide their stupid little prosecutor tricks or whatever they call them. They didn't try to hide it. They just, went with it. And this time the judge had to say, look, there's a lot more cameras on this case than there usually are. I'm not gonna be able to let this shit go as much as I usually can. I'm not smart enough to sit here and say in any certainty whether the jury was given wrong instructions or was giving I don't fucking know. All I know is from what I saw, and again, this is just going off headlines. You saw prosecution getting fucked, prosecution doing stupid shit, not guilty. Oh, and the weird crime memes. But hopefully this is a pipe dream and this is not going to happen. But as a libertarian myself, maybe this shows that maybe government entities being greasy as fuck aren't going to pay off anymore. So maybe, just maybe, they're going to have to be a little more, I was going to say clairvoyant, but that's not a little. Going back to the psychic investigator or whatever, psychic detective. They're going to have to be a little bit more on the level. That might be what happens. Hopefully that's what we get out of this. I'm not going to say, I'm glad or I'm not glad or whatever. Hopefully that's what we get out of this. But I am going to bring up a very serious topic I think really comes out of all this. What the fuck is going on in the North Midwest? Damn. This news channel I'm just watching basically showed from a police cam some broad getting shot. Ooh. Showed it. Damn, this might be my new news channel. Anywho, what is going on in the northern central part of America? The Wisconsins, the Michigans, the Minnesota. You have this whole thing. You have I don't know what's going on. In fact, just after, I don't know if I haven't been reading this much. I don't know if this has any sort of ties or anything, but a Wisconsin driver drove into a crowd at a Christmas parade, injuring quite a few. Not sure if any were killed or what have you. But yeah, a Wisconsin driver drove into a crowd at a parade. You know how you avoid that? Don't have a Christmas parade in November. Way too early for one. Ooh, even I don't feel good about that line. Let me jump back to what I was saying because, well, it may be true. That's something that just doesn't need to be said. Whew, let me wash that off of myself. What the fuck is going on up there? Is the Flint water getting pushed? Because Minnesota is the whole I can't breathe, all that stuff. That's where that kicked off, where all the riots kicked off and what have you. And don't even get me started on that, but I might start on that next time. But I think they only turned into riots because we had nothing else to do because of COVID. I think if we had more shit going on during the time, if we were allowed to go to work or allowed to go to the movies, I think... Oh, good. Reverend Al Sharpton. He's holding all their hands. What, because your MSNBC show got canceled, you have more free time? Jesus Christ. Let's just say, there are a lot of quotes from him back from the late 80s, early 90s that if anyone should get fucking canceled, it's that guy. Christ, where was I? Oh yeah, I made the whole argument. The riots probably would have just been demonstrations if people had other things to do. All I'm going to say. But is whatever was going on with the Flint, Michigan water, is that running over into Wisconsin and Minnesota? Is Ontario fucking with us in some way, pushing in like some sort of, I don't know, because everything going on is going on right in that sector. Should we be concerned about what's going on up there? Like, should we check on people? Should we be doing like an air quality test or a soil check or something? I don't know. Is the wafting of Chicago coming up over the lakes and doing something? I'm really kind of concerned. Well, here's why. It's because I live in the northern part of the country. Granted, probably a 2-day drive away from both those places, but is it going to spread both ways? Do I have to be concerned? Is there something we're going to be, I don't know. I'm concerned though, that's where all the shit's popping off. You see, folks, I don't just do stupid jokes and jokes that are probably too soon and jokes that probably have no merit or opinions that really just need to be researched more. No, I'm concerned for my fellow Americans. And this is the point. I don't know what's going on up there. And quite frankly, I'm very concerned. Could there be an issue with that part of the border not being open? I don't fucking know. All I know is a lot of weird shit happening in one small area. Like, you expect the shit in the South. You expect racial tensions in the South because they've been there for 300 fucking years. All right, you expect, but up there, I mean, it's too fucking cold to deal with that shit. I don't know. The last episode, I said, oh, there's probably something problematic in this. Well, there's probably something here. I got a couple, and I'm about to start a new one. Because if I didn't just annoy or piss off or even offend a bunch of people on either side of the Rittenhouse or the whole protest or all that sort of thing, if I didn't, here comes something else that's probably gonna piss people off. This one, though, I 100% agree with. Every other point I've made beforehand, or every big thing I've said, you know, I could be talked out of. I could be talked away from. I could be talked one side or the other easily, because, as you know, I fancy myself as quite the fucking idiot. But here is, to wrap up this whole episode, here is something I firmly agree with. And this is your fault for making me watch SportsCenter. Good news, folks. They are adding, rather than a one-game play-in series or whatever, the WNBA is making sure that the first round is going to be a 3-game series, not a one game basically play-in Thank the fucking Lord, because if there's one thing you want to do, if nobody's watching something, let's add the potential for more of that, right? That's good, because you know what? It's really not fair for all three of the fans of the one team to not get a chance to see their team play. I don't know, but hey, all you WNBA fans out there, playoffs are longer. You're moving up in the world. And while that was announced, guess what else was announced? The NCAA women's basketball tournament is going up to 68 teams away from the 64. So what I guess technically the men's tournament, which is fucking stupid anyway. What, it's fucking 70 teams or some stupid shit like that. And the first four, the last four, the middle four, whatever. 64 teams is fine. But women's NCAA getting up to that 68 level. Ho. Guess what, folks? They are moving up. What you learn in business is if no one gives a flying fuck about a product, you know what you do? You make more of that product and you shove it down people's fucking throat until they like that product. No, you don't try to make your product better. You don't try to figure out a way to... No. You know why the ratings are so much lower? You know why people don't like watching it? No, it's because they haven't gotten the real chance. No, it's because... No, here's why. Your product's worse. Make your product better or as entertaining or close to entertaining. Make that happen and maybe we'll start fucking watching. But adding more games and more chances for us not to fucking watch? I mean, I don't mind. ESPN is going to, break away from professional cornhole to the game cornhole. Not what. I digress. That's another funny thing. The game cornhole's played a lot in the South, and they're not really big fans of what that really means. It's beanbag toss. That's what it is. Can we stop? Do I have to be the one who says it? Your product sucks. Your product isn't as fun to watch. You know why? And I'm probably the wrong person to speak on this because I actually enjoy watching female golf. Quite honestly, in a lot of cases, if it's a random female golf tournament and a random male golf tournament, I prefer the female one. Just for a lot of nerdy reasons. I'm not going to get into it, all right? So I'm the wrong person to speak about this. But you look at tennis, all right? Why do just as many people in this country watch female tennis as male tennis? You know why? Because they're not marketing themselves as the same fucking game. Maybe the same sport, but it's not the same fucking game. They play it differently. They act differently. All that. So you know what you need to do, WNBA? And I know I've probably made this point before, and I'm probably going to make it again. But you know what you need to do? Tell yourself, you're not playing the same fucking game. Maybe the same sport, not the same game. So instead of adding more shit to try to get everything to kick off, to maybe that's what's going to kick this into gear and get our ratings somewhat close. That's going to kick us into gear and make our sport marketable and financially solvent. And thank God for... Is the WNBA officially in the black yet? I know for a long time they weren't, but luckily they had the NBA's money to back them. Are they in the black yet? Or is the NBA just bankrolling? I don't know. Is this like the NBA's version of like buying a new car every time like the warranty runs out or whatever? Like, you know what? we have a lot of money coming in. Yeah, we're going to lose money on this. Whatever. We'll just throw our random car money into this, but you're not playing the same game. Just figure that out. Just learn that. All right? It's the same sport, not the same game. Stop trying to shove more of it down our fucking throats and figure out how to make it more interesting. Better sounds bad. More fun, more user friendly, so to speak. Do that for us. Oh no, let's add more games while people still don't give a flying fuck. We'll just give them more games to not give a flying fuck about. I'd be interested to see what the ratings look like between the WNBA and Ice Cube's Big Three. That league he tried, or he's still trying, or... That would be interesting. And guess what? I'm not gonna fucking do it. Would be interesting, though. Hey, you know what? Squareheads. I haven't asked you to do a lot. None of you fuckers are recommending me beers or anything. Again, guess what I'm drinking this weekend? Or this episode. You don't get to know because you didn't recommend one. There's another thing. Look up the ratings comparison between the WNBA and Ice Cube's Big Three league and see how close they were, because, and of course, fucking with the mic stand again, because if that gives you any sort of fucking insight into if those ratings are anywhere in the same ballpark, no one can accuse me of being wrong. No one can accuse me of speaking out of my ass. The numbers are right there. Alright, so there's your weekly misogyny, and that's going to wrap up this episode. So, I said in the beginning, I'm going to say it at the end, you fuckers are obviously doing something, because November was my biggest month of downloads, and there's been no goddamn reason for it. So obviously you people are sharing it around, and I thank you for that, and you're going to get more episodes, because what the fuck else am I doing, right? Also, I mentioned, and you probably heard, as always, got some local independent beer that I'm drinking, and guess what it is? Oh, sorry, you're not gonna know. You don't get to know what I'm drinking unless you recommend the beer. So, Facebook, C Squared Hour. Twitter, @C Squared Hour. All one word. Instagram, @C Squared Hour. All the places you could find me. I made it real fucking simple. What was that? Oh, Any Given Sunday. We made the shit real fucking simple. So, C Squared Hour. Find it on social media. Follow, subscribe, like. Oh, YouTube. On YouTube too. Like, subscribe. All that. So you don't get to know what I'm drinking. Ask you to all it. Yeah, I got nothing else. So since I have nothing else, I hope you all enjoy this episode, and I will see you next time.